G'day everybody. So, a little while ago I went on a bit of a deep dive into a forgotten Transformers mobile fan game series that I had never known existed, and I am here to do so again, minus the mobile part. So today, we are going to talk about a game which is very difficult to find anywhere, and it is made by Desert Dog, and it is called Transformers Broken Destiny. So, what exactly is this game? Well, for starters, it is a fan game set after the events of the Transformers Armada game set in 2002, with the start of the game being the cutscene where you defeat Megatron and send him falling into the volcano. Its story is set around the possible existence of the Decepticon Matrix and the chaos it unleashes should its power not be maintained, which is a plot that High Moon would selfishly steal many years later. This story is pretty cool as it ties in with both the Armada game and Dreamwave comic series, creating a spin-off that I never knew I needed. So, before we run through the game, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, it does look very crunchy and simplistic, but that isn't the point, as this game is actually quite fun and pretty difficult towards the end, although I must admit that it isn't fun when it crashes, which it sometimes does. The reason it looks crunchy is because the game opens on a tiny screen, and once blown up, looks the way it does, probably because it was made in 2005. So, the game is rather simple as it is a turn-based game that has you decide whether you want to attack, heal, or charge. Attack and heal are determined by how much of the gauge you fill, with the maximum being the stats located in the bottom left-hand corner. Charge has you skip your turn, but in return on your next turn you now have the ability to upgrade your bot, which I found out the hard way is very important in the early stages of the game. Once upgrade is ready, you can choose between strength, which increases your max HP, firepower, which is your damage, skill, which is the minimum accuracy on each attack, and endurance, which increases how much HP you can restore. It is best to balance these stats with each upgrade, but personally, firepower and endurance should be your immediate go-to for the upgrades. Each chapter has a few rounds, with each fight having you control a different bot with their own stats. And be mindful that the stats you upgrade carry along with each specific bot, not just in general. Would be what I would say if I had actually paid attention and read the manual, because it doesn't relate to just a specific character, it carries along for all the characters throughout the entire game, which makes a lot more sense now that I look at it again. So be mindful, though, that you should play from start to finish in one sitting, as I discovered that the stats do not carry across if you go from the chapter select screen. But now that you get the gist of it, let's dive into Broken Destiny chapter by chapter. So, after the events of Megatron falling into the volcano in the Armada game, he is transported by the Autobots in the Arakat on their way to Cybertron so that he can stand trial against his many crimes, despite Hotshot's best wishes. Until they come under fire from the Terracons, who are led by none other than Starscream and Skywarp, who have come to begrudgingly rescue their leader, transporting him onto the Nemesis as Optimus calls for his Autobots to abandon their post to protect the Earth against the threat of Decepticons led by Demolisher and Cyclonus. Despite their win, Optimus is called to Cybertron by the High Council to answer for his actions in abandoning Megatron to protect Earth. On his return home, Prime is greeted by Sideswipe, who ushers him into the High Council chamber where Prefect Magnus and Leviticus accuse Prime of foolishness for letting Megatron be rescued just because the Decepticons decided to attack Earth, being reminded of his priority of Cybertron first above all other life. His punishment is to be relieved of duty, with the Jetfire being placed in charge while the Council deliberate on the best course of action. Outside, Prime begins to see visions of Cybertron and all its factions, Autobots, Decepticons and Minicons, all annihilated in the blink of an eye. Something isn't right. In the Minicon sector, Jetfire discusses their predicament with Sparkplug until an explosion is reported in Iacon, which was caused by none other than Optimus, who has stolen a fighter and made his way to the orbital platform Tau in an attempt to make it to the space bridge. After being defeated by Sideswipe of all bots,
well, how do you like that?
Prime is ordered by Jetfire to stand down, before the Nemesis arrives, with Optimus boarding it alongside the Decepticons and taking off. Aboard the Nemesis, Optimus is faced by a now freed Megatron. Thankfully, he only has 1 HP, which I was still somehow able to miss. However, use this opportunity to upgrade as much as you can, because believe me, you will need it for the later fights. So, after knocking some sense into Megatron, Optimus makes the unusual request for the Decepticons to help him infiltrate through Autobot territory to access Vector Sigma, so that Prime can see if his vision speaks any truth. He admits that it is a necessary evil, but must be done to potentially help the entire Cybertronian race. Together with the Decepticons, they breach Iacon City, with Wheeljack taking on Scavenger, Starscream battling Hotshot, who is conflicted to attack with Optimus on the other side, Tidal Wave against Overload, until all that remains is Jetfire. He pleads with Optimus to stop. However, Optimus is intent on finding truth to his vision, but before more can be said, Megatron intervenes and after a power struggle, comes out victorious against the new commander of the Autobots, but is refrained from killing to maintain his alliance with Optimus. Together, they stand before Vector Sigma before being enveloped in a white light that will answer the question Prime seeks. Having seen a vision of what is to come, Optimus and Megatron inform the Council of the existence of a Decepticon matrix. However, Optimus then clarifies that the matrices have no allegiances, but that there are two and exist to balance each other out. And that the imposing chaos Optimus envisioned is the distortion of the matrices being out of sync, since the Autobot matrix was used to destroy Unicron, and have now created an imbalance to the point where the Decepticon matrix is growing unstable to the point where it could implode. Should it not be stabilised, the matrix will destroy Cybertron and snuff every spark in existence. Optimus pleads for the Council to put their differences aside with the Decepticons, as all of their sparks are in danger and they will require the efforts of all Transformers to save their universe. Having actually heard them out for once, they form an uneasy alliance. We follow Skywarp, Red Alert and Thrust as they try to decode zero-day files that may contain information on the Matrix's location. So, once decoded by matching the patterns shown, which I had to verbally announce in order to remember the pattern,
mum, ma, mum, mumd, mumda, mumdad.
The Autobots and Decepticons begin to roll out in search of the Matrix, just as a shockwave is felt by all, with Prime stating that this is the beginning of the end. Each search party scours different sectors in search of the mysterious Matrix, and we first follow Tidal Wave and Megatron as they enter the defeated carcass of Unicron. Using intel from Thrust, they learn that the Decepticon Matrix was lost in a place where gods lie, hoping that Unicron would bring light to this question. Megatron can feel the Matrix's power, and cannot wait to unleash its full potential to rule over the universe. Tidal Wave does question how this will affect their current truce with the Autobots, and Megatron simply states that it is only fitting for the Decepticon Matrix to be used by him, since Prime has already used his Matrix. So what happens to the Autobots is up to them. As they converse, they are attacked by Unicron's internal defences, which posed to be quite a challenge if you hadn't upgraded enough. Entering Unicron's control center, they find no source for the Decepticon matrix and decide to interrogate Unicron themselves. From their battle, they find no records of the matrix, but do discover information on a power incarnate on the planet Orbsa, which I just realized is meant to be Hasbro backwards. Well done, developer, I applaud you for that one. They intend to head back to Cybertron and ensure that when they return, Prime will be unable to stop them. At the halfway point, we now return back to Cybertron and find that Blur and Smokescreen are experiencing fluctuations from the Energon refinery generators on the tower platform. Ordering all aboard to evacuate, they are hit with another pulse from the Decepticon matrix, causing the platform to destabilize and begin to fall back into Cybertron's atmosphere. We then head back to Earth now, where Starscream and Red Alert consort with the Earth Federation and Alexis, who are now all in search of the Decepticon matrix. As the two bots bicker, General McLean arrives, ordering for Starscream to stand down as he is the one responsible for destroying the Arctic base, and the General intends to get revenge for all the lives lost on that day.
Prepare for extermination!
As Starscream destroys the army, Red Alert detects a signal in the Atlantic Ocean. The two bots discover an Energon shard encoded in Decepticon dialect, which Starscream is able to decipher as the army returns. Being sick of holding back against the humans, Starscream uploads the data directly to Megatron and battles against Red Alert, stating that their little truce is now over. After a very intense battle, Starscream emerges victorious. However, his victory is short-lived as the General had sent nuclear warheads to their position, obliterating both Starscream and Red Alert. Unfortunately, that is only the start of the deaths that we face. As we return to Cybertron, we witness Minicons falling into stasis lock as Jolt and Sparkplug observe the orbital platform come hurtling into the atmosphere, killing all on board and wiping out many of the new territories. Rest in peace, Smokescreen and Blur. Meanwhile, Optimus went on a campaign of his own for answers, battling against Alpha Q in hopes they would reveal information of the Matrix's whereabouts, since in the Dreamwave comics they pretended to have a Decepticon Matrix of their own. They claim that it does not exist, only using a fake in hopes of forcing Megatron to do their bidding. But if one did exist, they would use it to regenerate Quintessa back to its former glory. Then, Alexis sent a transmission to Optimus stating that Starscream and Red Alert have been killed, and that Megatron now knows the whereabouts of the second Matrix. Returning to Cybertron, they find bodies all around entering stasis lock, and now a quarter of the planet being in ashes from the orbital platform. Realising that the Nemesis is refueling, the Autobots make their way to the ship, battling their way through thrust, skywarp and tidal wave, with Optimus making it aboard just in time before takeoff. Aboard the Nemesis, Megatron and Optimus realise that they will be the only two making this journey together, as no one else should have the right to claim this Matrix. While waiting to arrive on Orbsa, Prime discusses that Red Alert and Starscream found information of an ancient guardian that protects a power incarnate, and that those two brave bots died to get that information to them. Megatron just dismisses them though, saying that they served their purpose, and going on to tell of how the two leaders are alike. However, Optimus states that he would die trying to achieve peace, whereas Megatron would never sacrifice himself to gain power because he would be powerless, the thing he fears most. Arriving on Orbsa, they find a barren planet of thunderstorms. The pair feel a shock wave from afar, believing it to be the power seeping from the Decepticon Matrix. As Prime begins to make himself aware of his surroundings, Megatron takes charge and makes a dash to the source of the shockwave. As he gets close, a voice composed of light stops him, saying that Megatron bears half of the mark and that he must be taken to the circle. Trust me, if you have not been upgrading and starting to max out stats at this point, then you'll be praying for the divine light to whiff because that is the only way you're going to win. Even after winning the battle, Megatron is consumed by the light and disappears. We briefly pan back to Cybertron where the planet is on fire and even Jolt now succumbs to the Decepticon Matrix, losing all function as Sparkplug looks on as we see the Autobots and Decepticons slowly lose hope in their leaders. We go back to Optimus, who goes searching for Megatron before being stopped by the same light being who notices that Prime bears the other half of the mark and must also be taken to the circle. After defeating the light a second time, Prime is also consumed by the light and is whisked away. As Optimus is taken, we return to Cybertron one last time as the power seeping from the Decepticon Matrix is too much, destroying Cybertron and all life on it, leaving only Optimus and Megatron alone on Orbsa as the sole survivors. Finally awake, both Prime and Megatron awake in darkness. The voice that they had battled against had taken them to the circle and asks them if they have come for the Matrix. Optimus says they do, and when questioned as to what the entity is, it states that it is the guardian for the Matrix until the rightful heir arrives to claim it as judged by the Matrix itself, and that many have tried and failed in the past. Megatron declares the Matrix to make itself known and reveals itself as a flash of purple light, ready to judge the two bots before it. In this battle, the Matrix spirit manifests into the G1 counterparts of Optimus and Megatron, and your health and stats are combined into one. The animations also feature both Megatron and Optimus battling, which is pretty cool. This fight is tough, and you have to strategically attack and heal, as the Matrix deals a significant amount of damage, which caused me to lose many times. However, I am very grateful for crits. The Matrix deemed them both as heirs, as they both carry the mark of Vector Sigma. Megatron claims that the Matrix is his and tries to absorb the power into his own, but he is unable to control it. Optimus tells him that he must unleash the energy or it will destroy all. But Megatron still fights for control and goes over the many conversations about the importance of unleashing its power, focusing specifically on the last discussion he had with Optimus on their trip to Orbsa, going over how we could use the Matrix to restore all that had been lost, rather than using it to conquer a world with no life left in it. We watch as a glow begins to emanate from Orbsa and engulf the galaxy in light. Emerging from the Pacific Ocean is Red Alert, alive once again, followed by Sparkplug, Jolt, and the other Autobots and Decepticons, reawakening upon a brightly lit Cybertron, restored to its former glory once more. Approaching Cybertron, Optimus and Megatron admire their planet, with Optimus stating that this is all thanks to Megatron, who chose to use the Matrix for regeneration and not destruction. The High Council declares that this is a new golden age, and all Transformers sparks will be forever bonded in unity for their rebirth. Strangely though, neither Megatron nor Optimus were in attendance for the Council's declaration. We see Optimus confront Megatron on the orbital platform, pleading with him why he would continue to seek more power even after using the Matrix to restore life once more, seeing no reason for him to conquest further. However, Megatron states that he had to because there would be no point being a ruler if there was nothing to rule, challenging Optimus to one final battle. In this final battle, both bots have 1000 HP and the only thing you can do is attack, with each blow being a crit as the attacks continue going back and forth, with the two leaders quoting the great battle from the original movie.
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly? That's a question you should ask yourself, Megatron.
When both bots' HP hits 0, Optimus states that it won't end like this, with Megatron stating that it is his true destiny to destroy Prime. With those words, Prime states that he will break that destiny of his, and simply falls off of the tower platform, plummeting back to Cybertron. Enraged, Megatron refuses to be denied his destiny, and falls after Optimus, with the pair both crash landing onto the planet's surface and presumably ending both of their lives. The end. So, that has been quite a tale, which for a rather simple game was really nice to experience. telling the Armada storyline from the video game's perspective with a rather tragic storyline and ending, and as I recently discovered, uses pictures from the Dreamwave comic for many of its backgrounds and avatars throughout the game. Either way, I thoroughly enjoyed this experience, and I apologise for how long it has taken for it to come out, as there have been a lot of things going on behind the scenes which have taken my focus away from these videos. But I thank you all for your patience with me, and last of all, I would like to thank Dark of the Moon Barricade 3424 for bringing this game to my attention, as without their help I would never have even known that this game existed. So, with that, I will see you all later. Bye bye.